You ever have that moment where you're like, yeah, I totally got this, and then 5 seconds later, reality smacks you in the face? That's me, constantly. So buckle up. We're diving headfirst into sawdust, self doubt, and by the end of it, we're delivering a dining table. Stay tuned. So I'm building this dining table for a client, 6 feet by 4 feet, light colored wood. We went back and forth between ash and white oak, and in the end, white oak won. Mostly because it's classic, strong, and dependable, kind of like I hope this table will be. For the legs, I suggested simple wooden legs at all 4 corners. The client loved the idea, and that's great. One decision down. But then, as with all things in woodworking, I found myself in the middle of an existential crisis. Should I do maloof joints? Is the 4 foot width of the table too much? Will the joint be strong? Should I stack blocks of about 4-inch oak and face glue them under the table? Is that even a thing? Maloof joints, tried and true classic, and my face glued legs. Well, let's call it an experiment. Of course, I tried searching online for examples of face glued dining table legs. Found nothing. Either that means it's never been done before, or it has been done and the results were so catastrophic that no one dares speak of it. But here's the thing, I don't care much for what's been done and why anyway, so I'm going with the stacked block approach for now. We'll see how the legs come along. If it turns out great, fantastic. If it's a disaster, well, at least when someone Googles, should I face glue dining table legs, they'll find a very clear example of why they shouldn't. As for C-channels, I'm still skeptical about whether they actually prevent warping, but I'm adding 2 to this table anyway, mostly for my own peace of mind. The last thing I want is a call from my client months down the line telling me their table looks like a skateboard ramp. That's about all on the build. Now let's move on to something bigger. Woodworking draws me into these deep, almost existential reflections. The second I slip on my safety gear, the world beyond my workshop fades away. All I hear is the distant hum of the machines and the steady sound of my own breath through the mask. Suddenly, time slows down, and my thoughts become razor sharp, like I'm tapping into some hidden level of understanding about everything. It's a strange feeling, but it's exactly why I love woodworking so much. It's my escape from everyday life where I can afford to question everything and really sink into those deeper thoughts. Is this 90 degrees true? What is a perfect square? Does perfection even exist? Or are we all just chasing something we'll never catch? I think perfection is something we chase, something we measure, something we convince ourselves is real. But in woodworking, as in finance, and anything else really, perfection is an illusion, an idea that exists in our minds, not in our hands. For example, in finance, we run the numbers, balance the books, analyze the projections. We strive for precision down to the last decimal. But just like woodworking, there are always margins of error. Markets fluctuate, inflation creeps in, tax laws shift. No financial plan is truly perfect because the economy, like wood, moves, sort of breathes, and shifts over time. Just like these boards of white oak, each with its own unique grain, its own tiny imperfections. I square them, plane them, glue them together. But is this tabletop truly flat? Is it truly square? Or is it just close enough? I guess a well-built table, like a well-built financial plan, isn't about eliminating every imperfection. It's about working within them, about knowing when to refine and when to stop. Before moving on, I want to highlight a change in plans. Now that I have the milled boards laid out in front of me, I realize that my original idea of placing the legs at the corners was a little too ambitious. Even with 4 square inch legs, the span between them on the short side would be around 40 inches, which feels too wide to leave unsupported for a 2-inch thick white oak tabletop. To ensure stability, I reached out to my client and suggested an alternative, selecting legs from Flowy Line. They agreed on a design and I promptly placed the order. Okay, I'll return to this perfection bit in a moment. Let me switch to some current affairs. With everything going on lately, I've been thinking deeply about global trade. Every time I walk into the wood store, I run a massive trade deficit. Let me explain. I hand over money, they hand me wood, and that's it. No exports, no refunds, no, hey, thanks for stimulating the local economy. Just me constantly importing raw materials without a single export in return. Frankly, I think the wood store should at least pay me for my good looks. But no, nothing. Now flip that around to my clients. When they pay me for a dining table, I enjoy a glorious trade surplus. Money in, no money out. I don't even offer cashback or frequent flyer points. I just keep their money. It's honestly a beautiful imbalance. So I started thinking, maybe I should fix this, level the playing field, go full tariff mode. What if, instead of buying overpriced wood, I just grow my own oak, wait 50 years, harvest it, and become self sufficient? Brilliant, right? And to encourage this bold strategy, I'll start paying 25% more at the wood store. Yes, that ought to teach me a lesson. I'll voluntarily raise prices on myself. That should reduce my consumption and fix the deficit. But wait, what if my client doesn't want to pay my 25% premium? What if they don't want to wait 50 years for me to grow the tree? What if, God forbid, they just build the table themselves? Or worse, they hire someone else? Hmm, tariffs are complicated. So maybe instead of punishing myself and my clients, I should just get better. Make the best damn dining tables anyone's ever seen. So good they don't want to go elsewhere, even if it is cheaper. And maybe I should stop glaring at the wood store and start building a solid relationship with them. Buy in bulk, get discounts, shake hands, maybe hug a little. That way, even if I run a deficit with them, I more than make up for it with the surplus I get from my happy clients. In the end, it's all a dance, a back and forth of deficits and surpluses, imports and exports, wood and money. And like it or not, it's that imbalance that keeps everything moving. It's not a flaw, it is the engine. I would love to hear your thoughts on all of these topics, so feel free to leave me a comment. I am just a small YouTube creator sharing my builds purely out of a passion for woodworking, not for profit. I want my audience to be a place where ideas bounce back and forth, where I can learn, improve, and see things from angles I wouldn't have thought of alone. Because in my garage, I'm stuck with just my thoughts. And well, that's a little depressing. Plus, I can't think of a better platform to document my work and get real feedback from people who actually get it. That means you can count on me to personally respond to every single one of you. By the way, if you're enjoying this mix of woodworking and existential rambling, consider giving this video a like. It helps more than you think, and if you want to see more builds where I question both my woodworking skills and the nature of reality, feel free to subscribe. Okay, so let me return to that pursuit of perfection topic. So let's say hypothetically that one day I become an incredible craftsman, a master, someone who knows exactly when to stop chasing perfection. But then comes the real danger. How do I keep myself from becoming overconfident? That brings me on to something I've been thinking about. The moment I think I know. There's this strange thing that happens the moment I think I know something. The second I feel confident, like I've got it all figured out, that's usually when I realize I don't. It happened just the other day. A friend asked me how to explain investing to a child. I thought, yeah, easy, I got this. But the moment I opened my mouth, I realized, wait a second, do I really got this? Turns out, explaining investing to a 5-year-old isn't as simple as I assumed, which in hindsight should have been obvious. Because have you ever tried explaining anything to a 5-year-old? They'll ask why 5 times before you even get to your point. I guess every strength is also a potential weakness. I am a CPA. Finance and accounting are supposed to be my strengths. But if I truly had them mastered, why do I need constant training? Why do tax laws keep changing? Why does the market refuse to behave? The second I tell myself I've got this, chances are I'm about to make a mistake. And woodworking is no different. The moment I assume a piece is square without checking, that's when it isn't. The moment I stop questioning whether a joint is strong enough, that's when I guarantee it will fail. The moment I trust that my measurements are perfect without double checking, that's when I cut an expensive board too short and suddenly need to adjust the design. And let's just say, if design adjustments were a sport, I'd be an Olympian by now. So whether it's a financial plan or a maloof joint, precision only exists when you respect the fact that you might be wrong. And so I always remind myself, knowing something isn't a fixed state. It's a moving target. The moment I feel certain is the moment I need to slow down, double check, and stay humble. Because the second I think I know, I might already be wrong. Now, since I didn't have to build the legs for this table, I took it as an opportunity to dive deeper into the topic of imperfections. All in the name of science, of course. And well, my square, not exactly a beacon of precision. It's scratched, uneven, and honestly looks like it's seen some things. Combine that with the natural roughness of the wood, and let's just say we've got some creative interpretations of flatness in 90 degrees. But for this project, it's flat and 90 enough, which is all that really matters. As long as people can set their plates down without them sliding into their laps and their cups don't topple over like a bad investment, I'd say these boards are flat, square, and ready to become a dining table. And yes, that's a little bit of a stretch, but I think you get the point. Woodworking, like life, is full of questions. What is perfect? What is square? Do I truly know what I'm doing? Every project is a test, not just of skill, but of patience, of humility, of the willingness to learn. If you enjoyed this journey, this mix of woodworking, philosophy, and a little bit of existential questioning, consider sharing it with someone who might appreciate it. Maybe a friend who loves craftsmanship, or someone who overthinks as much as I do. And if you'd like to see more projects like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around. There's always another build, another lesson, and probably a few more unanswered questions along the way. Alright, that's enough thinking for one build. Time to snap back to reality because this table isn't going to deliver itself. I'll go rent a truck and see you guys at the client's house. This table started as rough boards, full of potential but also full of uncertainty. Would the glue up be seamless? Would the legs hold? Would the grain align just right? At every step I questioned, adjusted, doubted, and refined. And now here it is, standing in the space it was meant for, ready to be used, touched, and lived with. I'll always wonder if I could have done something better. I'll always second guess a decision or notice a detail no one else will see. But seeing the table here, in its new home, with people who will gather around it, eat at it, share stories over it, this is the moment that answers all those questions. Thanks for watching.
Wait! Wow, oh my god!
What do you think?
So good! Wow! This is so nice! Actually, more than what I expected.